talk about how great the stock car races can be here too. It's got really, obviously it's got really long straightaways. It's kind of like a drafty track, and it's not really, when you're in a stock car, it's not that easy to navigate around here, Murph.
It's not, and this track has undergone a large evolution in terms of even the cars that they brought here. Back in the day, I remember the first Brickyard 400. I was in the stands for that as a young 11-year-old kid. They brought intermediate cars here, like Pocono cars. So if you go back and look at those first Brickyard 400 cars, they have the brake ducts on them. Now, this has evolved into a drafting track where the draft is very important. It's almost races with the newer cars at the Cup level, almost like a Daytona does. It's very different. Of course, this event has undergone several changes. The NASCAR side moved to the road course at one point. It is back on the oval. I went last year, Caleb. A fantastic Brickyard 400 was had. The Grand National cars come here too now. They used to be out at IRP. We'll be at IRP tomorrow with the trucks. But that was the thing, man. This used to be really the second or third largest racing event in the United States. I mean, the Brickyard 400 weekend was huge back in the 90s, Caleb. And it's awesome to see these AMA drivers attempt to tackle at least the Grand National version in the sim.
Yeah, it is. I remember, there was a couple years, especially in the early 2000s. Of course, it was helped with the split that was going on with IndyCar, but where the Brickyard 400 was the most popular race at the track for a couple of years, to where they're getting more people that came through the gates in the early 2000s. Again, mainly to do with the split, also 80 in that. But this was one of the biggest races on the NASCAR calendar. It was considered a crown jewel event, up there with even like Daytona, even nowadays, even compared to like Darlington and Talladega. This was considered a crown jewel in NASCAR, and this was a race that everybody wanted to win. It was always marked on the calendar for all these drivers that wanted to win, and just absolutely iconic as who has won here in the past. Jeff Gordon winning the initial one in 1994. That pretty much cemented him as an absolute legend instantly from the very first year they even ran this track. So this is by far one of the biggest racetracks, or one of the most iconic racetracks in NASCAR. Was so even though they've only came here since the mid 90s, it's just had some absolutely fantastic races here.
It has. Ernie Irvan led that first Brickyard 400 until he cut a tire going down the backstretch in the late stages. That allowed Jeff Gordon to sweep past and score his initial victory. The best car that day was probably Dale Earnhardt, but he pounded the fence in turn 4, trying to lead the first lap. It was very important to him that he lead the first Winston Cup lap at the Speedway. Hit the wall right in front of me, a very saddened Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan, and then we got to watch him drive all the way through the field. Wound up 6th that day. This is the origin of the Hurt So Good story. Dale Sr. hurt at Talladega, broke some ribs. Came to Indianapolis, did not want to get out of his race car. He eventually yielded to Mike Skinner, who finished the race. And then the Hurt So Good t-shirts appeared at Watkins Glen. Earnhardt nearly won his first road course race 2 weeks after that Brickyard 400, in which he got out of what he considered to be the winning car. That would have been 96. Of course, he won the 1995 version, which was delayed by rain. We waited that out at Bud's Lounge on the outskirts of the track up on Lafayette Avenue. But this race and this weekend, again, steeped in NASCAR history. The track, if you know anything about motor racing, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway needs no introduction. One of the things that's kind of cool that it'll flash up on the screen, the bust and the statue that you see occasionally in the screenshots here, that is Louis Chevrolet. I didn't know if you knew that or not, Caleb. That is Louis Chevrolet, the founder, who along with brothers Gaston and Arthur founded the Chevrolet Motor Car Company. And yes, that's the same Chevrolet we have today. They won the Indianapolis 500 in the early 1920s, Caleb. But they did so, and here's one of my favorite trivia questions about Indianapolis. They did so driving a Frontenac, which was a Ford. By then, the Chevrolet brothers had lost control of the Chevrolet Motor Car Company. There's Louis Chevrolet. They had lost control of their eponymous company to Arthur Durant, who went on to use it along with Cadillac to form the backbone of General Motors. And so the Chevrolet brothers came here and won their only Indianapolis 500 driving a Ford. I bet you didn't know that, Caleb Brashear.
When it's over 100 years ago, and, it's hard to know that information all the time, Murph. So, no, I didn't really know that there.
Well, now you know. The times you see, or the speeds you see up on the board, Ryan O'Donohue, no surprise, is the quickest in Indianapolis. He's followed by Matthew White, Kendall Paul, Sean Roberts, and Justin Osterman. The track record here for NASCAR machinery is 47,647. That's for one lap. We are not anywhere near that at the moment. The NASCAR Grand National Series record here, 52,878, set by Tyler Reddick. That was back in 2018. We are close. Ryan O'Donohue right now, his best lap is 53,063, and that's more down to the pavement. The track was paved right around, it was either paved or diamond ground, if memory serves, right around that time period, Caleb, and that definitely plays into it. The outright track record here is a number of lore. It's held by Ari Lyondike, 239.260 miles an hour, set in 1996. Scott McLaughlin has the fastest pole lap at 234.2. Ari Lyondike, the fastest qualifying lap, 237.498. The fastest race lap at Indianapolis, posted by Eddie Cheever, 236.103. As you can tell, Caleb, we are not going that fast today.
I would be surprised if we even got close to that time here today, Murph. There might have been, we might have to have some hacks in order to do that with these Grand National cars. I mean, these things are big, they're bulky, and they really don't want to turn too much in compared to the Indy car. They also, they do have more horsepower, but they also have nearly 2,500 more pounds of weight to them. So I'd be very surprised if we even got remotely close to that time. But in terms of the, you said this earlier, the Grand National times, we are fairly close. Greg Evans, right at the end of the practice session, did go to the top of the board with a 52.988. So we are fairly close to that time. And of course, you said that was when they were Diamond Ground. So I'm curious to see what they will do in qualifying, whether or not they're going to go faster or not. It should be pretty close here.
It should. Let's jump on board with Matthew White as he gets ready to maneuver his machine out onto the grid. Do want to thank everybody for joining us here on P1. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you too can get in on all of the iRacing action. Of course, we're simulcasting with the P1 Elite Racing League season opener. That is at Pocono. Do want to thank everybody who's joined in on a second monitor to watch that one. Riding along with Matthew White, though, he's doing something that we do not do here, Caleb. He is lifting and in some cases braking going into these corners.
Yeah, it is, and you can see how smooth he is. One of the things that with these Grand National cars that's more prevalent than any other track is how loose the rear end wants to be. Kind of similar to how we had at Pocono. It was a tight, loose situation. You see him get all the way to the bottom, almost on that curb on the inside there. Get really close to the wall next, and then you get massive lift on both turns 2 and 4. Gets a little bit loose. Does not hit the wall, though. Able to keep it straight. But Matthew White absolutely sending it out there on his first flyer.
I was going to say that was more than just a little loose, Caleb. He just about pounded the exit of the. He just about pounded the wall at the exit of turn number 2. Through turn number 3, this car seems to be very free. There's your weather, 106 degrees on the track, which, believe it or not, 76 in the air and 106 on the track. Caleb, that is very cool for this time of year in Indianapolis. I've been to Brickyard 400s, especially last year, where it felt like we were going to melt in the stands. I have never been so glad. We had seats up in the Holman boxes there, which are right on the top of the exit of turn number 4, just down the front straightaway. I had never been so glad to see air conditioning in my life.
Oh yeah, and typically it's always a little bit cooler for the 500, where we always know, but in the Brickyard 400s, it's right in the middle of summer every single time. So it's going to be a little bit greasier. It's going to be a little bit harder to control, no matter what car you take around here. But you see Matthew White even struggling on his second lap, missed the bottom end of turn number 3 there. Gets turn number 4 right. We'll see if this is any quicker. I actually don't know whether or not the first lap or the second lap will be quicker. We'll see what Matthew White does. He goes a little bit quicker, even with that slight mistake in turn number 3. So we'll see what the rest of the field does here with just under 2 minutes to go.
I'm going to tell you what, even if that's making a mistake, I'd love to see what isn't making a mistake. Matthew White goes to the top of the board. That last shot is about from where I sit for the Indianapolis 500 as we watch John Houchins tear around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He's on his second lap, currently 9th quick. Down the back straight he goes. You can tell from the grandstand seating, you cannot see the whole track from any vantage point, Caleb. Most of the seating is obstructed by the buildings in the infield and even the grandstands on the inside of the track. But this is the money shot. When you come off of turn number 4, and you and I have seen this in the sim, right now it's like running through a wall of people going down the front straightaway here.
Yeah, it is. One of my first memories here at the Speedway in terms of, technically I was a crew member, but in terms of spectating, I guess you would say, is how loud we were watching it back at the SCCA runoffs. We were watching the GT1 race, which is effectively the top Trans Am series, the top class. And it was one of the, it's like a tunnel of noise on that front straightaway. It's absolutely a sight to behold, especially when you got, a V8, muscle car that's going through there about 180, 190 miles an hour is just absolutely incredible to see there. Back in, I want to say that was back in 2021 when we went there for the runoffs.
Yeah, it's very much a cool thing to see a race car speed down through that. The start of the Indianapolis 500, even the start of the Brickyard 400, for that matter, back in the days when it was full, was almost magic to see those cars go through there. And we're about to see some more magic tonight. The grid is forming, Caleb. And we're ready for 100 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And here's how they're going to line them up. Winner of the Simshop Pole Award, and that's www.simshop.com. Just keep driving. Matthew White, www.simshop.com for all of your sim racing needs. Greg Evans will start on the outside pole. Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, and Kendall Paul will line up 3rd and 4th on row 2. Row 3, Trevor Ryan, Sean Roberts, and then Joshua Zorn, Crash Neon, James Hodgson, Brian Sharp will close out the remainder of your top 10. In 11th, it's Say Hey Lewis Hayes. He'll line up next to John Houchins. That's row number 6. Row 7 will feature David Dunwoody and Rick Fallis. How about David Fernan and Troy Carricker, 15th and 16th? Andrew Gates, Ryan O'Donohue, 17th and 18th. O'Donohue piped in the chat. Caleb, he said he made a mistake. We'll see how he gets on and gets through the field. Mike Rigney and Matt Mettler will go for 19th and 20th. Ted Craven will start 21st. Then Sam Crow, Eric Porter, Daryl Zucchelli, and Christopher Logan are going to round out your starting lineup here in what is always a grand event. There you see the pace truck from more or less the very top of the pagoda. Here's another interesting bit of trivia. If you look at the flag stand, Caleb, it's not shaped like a normal flag stand, is it?
No, it is not, Murph. No, it is not.
You know why it's shaped like that? There's a very specific reason the flag stand looks like that.
What is it, Murph?
So the flag stand at Indianapolis is in the shape of a battleship, and it's meant to be a permanent memorial to the sailors aboard the USS Indianapolis. It was a battleship that was sunk in World War II. It is that was done when the track was redone for Formula One, but it is one of those things you don't notice unless you look at it from a shot like that. But everything in Indianapolis has a purpose. A lot of them, as you look at the American flag going down into turn one, a lot of things here are very patriotic, very patriotism driven. Of course, the Indianapolis 500 held on Memorial Day weekend, and you'll see a lot of things like that here at Indy if you care to look, Caleb. But that's one a lot of people don't know because they don't ever show the flag stand from the top down.
You don't indeed. A couple of notes before we go green here. Both David Farnham and Matt Miller were given EOL penalties for not having the correct banner on their cars on top of their windshield. So they will start from the rear of the field here at Indianapolis. And we really haven't talked really quick, since this is a long pace step, we really haven't talked about past history with the AMA. Kendall Paul is your previous winner here, and he's going to, he was quick in practice, he's quick in qualifying. We'll see if he's able to go back to back here, but he's got a couple quick drivers that line up in the front row just right in front of him with Matthew White, the new face of the Grand National Series here in the AMA. He's been fairly quick over the past two races here. And then Greg Evans already has 8 wins on the season. Let's see if he can make it number 9 here in Indianapolis.
We'll see. This shot set up right in front of the suites off of turn number 4. There we see the pace truck leading the field around. Matthew White and Greg Evans have them under control. We're going to jump up. We do not actually have a shot from the flag stand here, and so we'll just await Matthew White to hit the loud pedal. Barney's got the green flag in the air. There's the restart zone, and away we go. 250 miles, 100 laps in Indianapolis in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series are upon us. Greg Evans, Matthew White, drag race into turn 1. White's going to have the early advantage.
It does. Greg Evans slots back into that second place position. A little bit of action, a little bit further back for that 5th place spot. That is that is Trevor Ryan and Sean Roberts going side by side. Trevor Ryan able to get the run down the back straightaway. They're single file for the first 5 rows, but then you got a little bit of side-by-side action with Crash Neon looking up the inside of Sean Roberts right now. Right behind them, Joshua Zorn and James Hodgson are going to go side-by-side, and Joshua Zorn looking to the outside here. Not able to quite get them moved on the outside. James Hodgson is still there on his inside going to turn number 4.
He is. There you see Crash Neon right behind them. James Hodgson, Joshua Zorn. There's a car on the wall hard. That was James Hodgson. Smacked the fence a la Dale Earnhardt at the end of lap number 1. And that number 88, the forward-facing 88, is bent severely on that right front, Caleb.
Yeah, big hit there. He's definitely got some damage. It doesn't look like it's hindering him at the moment. He dropped back quite a few number of positions. St. Louis Hayes right in front of him. It looks like he's still able to maintain at least a solid pace here going down the back straightaway. So we'll see how that goes over the course of the stint, whether or not he's going to wear a tire down by the time this first stage is done. 30 laps, he has to make it. If he's got a fender rub, well, this ain't going to be too good for him. Thankfully, the lap here at Indianapolis is so long, he might be able to get out before they come up to lap him here.
Yeah, you can make a pit stop here without losing a lap in both Indy cars and in stock cars, and so that is available. But I think James Hodgson is going to want to try to stick it out as long as he can. Take a look back. The leaders: Matthew White leads. Greg Evans is second. Kendall Paul, Justin Osterman, 3rd and 4th. Trevor Ryan hangs on in 5th. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. Chrono, we're doing just fine. Caleb and I are starting to tune up and get ready for the big show in September. That's the Sim Gaming Expo in Schaumburg, September 18 through 20. If you haven't already done that, get your tickets, simgamingexpo.com. You can see Caleb Brashear, the GOAT, the champ, defend his title against slow drivers like me in a stadium atmosphere. I will be available to make sure everybody gets Caleb Brashear's autograph should you request it. So make sure you make plans to attend that event. We are already 4 laps down here, Caleb, and one of the things that Indianapolis tends to do, as you see Justin Osterman look to the inside of Kendall Paul, one of the things Indianapolis tends to do is it gets real spread out real fast.
Yeah, it does. And while this is a drafty type track, you're able to get really good runs. It's not that easy to navigate. Even the slightest mistake can absolutely cost you in the corners. And, of course, you're losing so much grip with just the dirty air in front. You're going that fast in these big, bulky Grand National cars. It is very, very difficult to navigate that this place and keep up with the rest of the pack. So we kind of have 2 groups of cars. You got the top 8 all the way back to Say Hey Lewis Hayes, and there's about a 2-3 second gap back to David Dunwoody where the rest of the pack is, and it's kind of very spread out at the moment. On board with Ryan O'Donohue, he's been able to make some passes though. He started back in the 18th spot, as you see there, made up 8 of them at the moment, currently inside the top 10. He made a mistake in his Q run, as he said before, but he looks like he is on the charge. He's one of the faster cars in practice. Was P2 in practice with a 53.063, currently doing a 54.323. So we are a little bit slower on race pace, even this early into the stint here.
You are. You would anticipate that given the aero situation on these stock cars. John Houchins rather. Huge wiggle coming off of turn number 4, but we're watching Ryan O'Donohue. He needs to make it past David Dunwoody, and I think Dunwoody may be willing to just pull over and let Ryan O'Donohue go, knowing O'Donohue is much, much faster. There is some IndyCar lore for this series here, by the way, Caleb. As we head back toward the 3rd spot, Kendall Paul has gotten around Greg Evans, and Kendall Paul will now give chase to Matthew White. Ooh, Sean Roberts with a problem coming off of turn number 2. Go back and have a look at that. There is some AMA lore here for many years. Well, not many. There were at least 2. Sean Roberts, big slide off of 2, and that's a hard lick, Caleb. He did the same thing that James Hodgson did, coming off of turn number 4. Kendall Paul is starting to run down Matthew White, by the way, so we're going to get back to the battle lead. There is some AMA lore here in that they used to run a race here called the Interstellar 500, which annually took place after the stock car season had ended. It was an IndyCar race. I have not competed in that one. I was eligible to compete in it the last year it ran. I have not competed in it as a driver. I did compete in it vicariously. David Dunwoody leading the race with 30 laps to go, pounded the fence in carrying my paint scheme. So how about that, Caleb?
Oh, botching Indianapolis as usual, Murph. It seems like you do that quite often, don't you, with how the 500 went?
I'm going to ask you a question. Which one of us has a Indy 500 top split trophy on the wall?
It would be you, though, but a little bit jostling there between the 2 of us. But
of course,
it's always like this, especially with a track like Indianapolis. I mean, this track is, it's mainly known for an IndyCar track. Obviously, it's the Indy 500, biggest race in the world, and I feel like this is all you can think about. It's not only with real life stuff. You got P1. We run this track. It feels like every 3 weeks it's on some sort of schedule within one of the leagues or official schedule. We come here so often, it honestly gets a little bit tiring at times, especially when it gets around the 500 season and you turn about 3,000 to 4,000 laps here.
Yeah.
Just to get good at it and just to get up to speed. This is like our backyard for us here on the channel for P1.
Yeah, and I've said it before, Caleb. For us, driving around Indianapolis at this point is almost it's almost by memory. I'm pretty sure you and I could cut laps around here with our eyes closed because we've done. We've done so many laps here that it's almost mechanical for us. The stock car guys, though, it's a big race, no doubt. You're watching Kendall Paul. He started to fall back from our leader Matthew White just a little bit. You're right on board with him down the front straightaway. You see the advantage. It's about 0.3 of a second. It goes anywhere between half a second and 0.3, depending on where they are in the draft, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. The closer you get to the car in front, the harder it is just to even maintain it because of the dirty air. But if you drop a little bit further back, then you're able to gain all that speed back. And you can just see how much Kendall Paul is just kind of sliding through the middle of the corner right now just to keep up with Matthew White. Greg Evans has dropped back a little bit. We're 10 laps in, so about a third into stage number 1 here. And Greg Evans, he's maintaining a good pace, but he doesn't want to drop too far back and get outside that draft range. Let's see if he's able to do what he usually does best and try to tire save as better than the rest of the field and try to get back up to Kendall Paul and Matthew White within, I'd say about 5 to 6 laps time here.
That's a very good point you mentioned about saving tires. I have not driven a Grand National car here. What is the tire wear situation, Chip? Are they going to wear out? Are they stable? What are the tires like here, Caleb?
They're stable, more stable than most other tracks. It's not like a track where they absolutely shred here, unlike 2007 with the Cup Series here when they came here. But it definitely does wear, but it's not like they drop off a cliff type, of tire wear here. So it's not like it's, you're going to lose massive pace. You could push them a little bit harder than you can at other tracks. I'd say we had that similar situation at Pocono as well. I'd say it's very similar to how that was. However, of course, anytime you have a stock car race anywhere, tire management is the number one thing you have to do. Kendall Paul's got a really big run. Drops back a little bit, though, going into turn number 1. Let's see if he's able to keep the momentum going down into turn number 2 and possibly make a move going into turn number 3.
We'll see. There's Kendall Paul. You're right on board with him from the second spot. Give you a quick update on the weather. 78 in the air, 107 on the track. Winds out of the southwest at 8, and so that's going to be a tailwind down the back and pushing you into turn 3. It's going to be a headwind through going down the front straight. It's going to be pushing on the nose of the car in turn 1, and it's going to be blowing across turn 2. And buddy, that makes this place very tricky. Indianapolis, if you look at the flags up on top, and there's also a windsock on top of the there's also a windsock on top of the scoring pylon. The flags around the top of this place and that windsock, Caleb, are really kind of your best friends, and you can gauge how you need to place your car based on the way those flags are blowing sometimes.
Yeah, it is, and wind here actually makes a big difference. Not so much in the stock car side, but in the Indy cars, you could definitely feel it. It feels like it's almost like a necessity. You need to know which direction the wind is going. Here, it's still prevalent here in the Grand National side, but obviously just not as much because of how big and bulky these stock cars are. The wind, as you see there, currently, 7 miles an hour. That won't make too much a difference on a stock car, but in an Indy car, that feels like it's unsettling sometimes because it's all four corners. They almost feel the same when there's no wind, but once that wind, it changes the track completely.
It is still on the battle for the lead. It is the best battle on the course. It is worth noting this man, Ryan O'Donohue, has moved around Lewis Hayes and Crash Neon, Ryan O'Donoghue has parked himself in the 6th spot, and he's now giving chase to Trevor Ryan. O'Donoghue last time through 0.3 of a second quicker than Trevor Ryan in 5th, 55.229. The only car on the track faster than Ryan O'Donoghue right now is the leader, Matthew White, and that is pretty close. White's got him by about 0.04 of a second, and you can see how much Ryan O'Donoghue is pedaling that number 14 Mass Medical Supply machine. You see his hands inside the cockpit there, Caleb. He was sawing on that thing coming through turn 3.
Yeah, it was, and that's just a characteristic of the Grand National cars. It feels the rear end wants to step out on you, but it's also tight at the same time. That's one thing that all these drivers are struggling with. It's a tight, loose situation, more so than usual. I do want to point out Greg Evans did just get around Kendall Paul for second. So Greg Evans, I said about 5 laps time, he made a move going into turn number 1 around Kendall Paul, and right now is hunting for the lead here, Murph.
He is, and Greg Evans had posted the fastest lap on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The last time around, he went just about a 10th quicker than Matthew White, and so Greg Evans is on the hunt for the lead, and we've seen this, Caleb, time and time again. Greg Evans will fade at the start of a stint. About midway through, it's just like death and taxes. Here comes the deuce.
Yeah, it is, and you know, Greg Evans, an absolutely dominating factor here in the Grand National Series. His last race win was 2 races ago in Chicagoland, which honestly feels like forever. We had a couple-week break since Atlanta, but Greg Evans, 8 wins on the season. Looks like he had a very good chance at Atlanta, but unfortunately his internet cut out with only a handful of laps to go. That really hurt him, trying to set the records, here in the AMA. And his teammate, Ryan O'Donoghue, ended up taking his first win, finally taking his first win of the Grand National Series. He's had pace the entire season, and he finally got it done back here in Atlanta. Looks like he really knows his place really well, because right now he is the fastest car on track besides Matthew White, the leader.
He is. Now, Ryan O'Donoghue does have a little bit of experience here. He does run in the ISRA series on late Monday nights as part of the DVD Motorsports team, Mike Rigney's series. Rigney is in this field as well. He currently stands in the 13th spot in the John Van Varellis special. And let's take a look back at Mike and see how he's doing. There he is. He's got Brian Sharp right behind him, Sam Crow dead ahead. Do want to point out the car in 14th. That is Brian Sharp. Now, remember I said there is a little bit of AMA lore here, the Interstellar 500 and all that. Andy Dunwoody, David Dunwoody had the lead driving my race car and pounded the fence at the exit of turn 2. You know who handed that win to?
Who did he hand the win to, Murph?
Brian Sharp. So Brian Sharp has won in the AMA at 500 miles in Indianapolis, albeit in an Indy car. But Brian Sharp also knows his way around here, Caleb. There is talk of doing another Interstellar 500 in which you and I would be invited to participate, but we have to start from the pits.
I feel like we do all right.
I think we could do okay. Looking at Mike Rigney there's Sam Crow just ahead of him. The Black Acid Racing Apparel number 8 machine. Familiar purple, black, and green colors for Sam Crow, my former broadcast partner. Ahead of him, you've got a pretty fierce fight between Say Hey Lewis Hayes, Joshua Zorn in the number 9, and Troy Carricker in the 94. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going to let Zorn and Carricker go. That was for 9th, 10th, and Lewis Hayes now goes from 9th to 11th. But Joshua Zorn's another one of those cars. He can come forward at the end of a run. We've seen that time and again, just ahead of them. Crash Neon in the Ghost. He is just ahead of David Dunwoody. That's 7th and 8th. You see those two machines racing about here at Indianapolis. 19 of 100 on the board. And we talked about Ryan O'Donoghue at length. Just in front of him, there's Trevor Ryan in 5th, Caleb. And then about 3 seconds up the road, you've got Justin Osterman. they are putting a lap on John Houchins. John Houchins and Daryl Zucchelli have already come to the pit lane, as has Christopher Logan. Those cars are all a lap down, and here's Daryl Zucchelli. He desperately, well, now Ted Craven is on the pit lane, weaving back and forth in that chrome number 1. He's also a lap down, but Daryl Zucchelli desperately wants to stay where he is. We're going to have to get him some paint work on that 69 machine, Caleb. I don't know if we can allow a plain white wrapper on a car numbered 69. We need to get some red, white, and blue and chrome on that baby.
Yes, we do here, Murph. I believe he's another new face here in the AMA. Made it a start pretty recently, I want to say. I'll look into that real quick, but yeah, we need some colors on that thing.
We most certainly do. Andrew Gates, and here's Andrew in the number 13, is the last car on the lead lap. He is about 15 seconds from going a lap down, and that may happen. He's about 2 seconds off the pace in that number 13 machine. So keep an eye on Andrew Gates. Matt Metler has just temporary. I don't know if that's temporary or if he disconnected. Maybe you can tell me more on that.
He has disconnected.
So Matt Metler now out of this one. There's a 79, Eric Porter. He runs along 19th. You've got James Hodgson. Hodgson in a battle with Porter. Hodgson hit the wall. He's just trying on lap 1. He's just trying to nurse that thing home, Caleb.
Yeah, yes, he is. I did look into the Matt Metler situation, as we see a little bit of a dive from that 70 there. Had a look at the inside. He's able to get around James Houchin there. A little bit of a late send there, but back on the Matt Metler situation, he absolutely clobbered the wall in turn number 1, and that put him out of the race right then and there. So Matt Metler's day is in fact done. He is retired the car due to possibly terminal right from mechanical damage.
There you go. This is the best battle on the course. It is 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. David Dunwoody back to Troy Carricker. You see Crash Neon has now caught David Dunwoody, but Joshua Zorn and Troy Carricker have also caught Crash Neon. And so Neon is one of those guys, just, he's known as more of an open wheel kind of a guy. Crash Neon is. He's got a lot of laps around here, although maybe not in a stock car. But Crash Neon, very familiar with the track. He started to run down David Dunwoody, but he's got a mirror full of Joshua Zorn right now.
Yeah, it is. Joshua Zorn, a couple laps ago, hit the wall coming off turn number 2. It looks like he's got a little bit of right rear damage on that number 9 machine. So we'll see if he's able to maintain pace. It looks like he is, but a good 4-car battle for the 7th place spot here. David Dunwoody leads, as you see there. And you can see Zorn get really, really close to that wall every single time he goes through turn number 1. Troy Carricker tries the IndyCar line, trying to get, or the iRacing IndyCar line, and try to run that second lane there on the outside, try to get the momentum. Crash Neon's got a decent run now, but I think it's a little bit too far back to try anything. He thinks better of it, backs off, going into turn number 3. We'll see if he's able to get the run going through turn number 4.
He does. Crash Neon pulls right up on the back of David Dunwoody. Joshua Zorn does the same to Crash Neon. Let's jump on board with Crash as he tries to run down David Dunwoody in that 7th spot. He's going to have a big draft coming down the front straightaway, but I don't know that he's close enough. Caleb, now there, heard the lift. Crash Neon's gonna back out of that and live to die another day, but he's awfully close going through turn 1. Crash Neon is there.
He is there, but so is Joshua Zorn on his rear bumper. You can see in his mirror there. You can actually see how close Zorn is. Right, and he gets a little bit loose. He loses a little bit of time. Joshua Zorn now has Troy Carricker going up his inside, going into turn number 3.
Yes, he does. There goes
Carricker
Troy.
Gets the move.
Yeah, there we go. Troy Carricker with that move. He'll make it through, and now Troy Carricker is going to worry Crash Neon here.
Yeah, it is. You can see the 2 cars behind him are actually pushing a little bit harder on the exit of the corner, so they're getting a lot closer to the wall than both Crash and David Dunwoody. We'll see if that's able to keep going forward. And one thing that's always important is like they got to keep as much momentum as possible through the corner. So they got to try to drive it as straight as possible. And right now, they're kind of missing the bottom of the corner. The car just seems to be getting tighter and tighter throughout the run here.
It does. Do want to point out there are a couple of really good battles on the track within the top 10. You've got Ryan O'Donoghue has now caught Trevor Ryan. Justin Osterman is working over Kendall Paul for third. So battles for third, fifth, and seventh as we continue to run around Indianapolis. We are at quarter distance. They've just completed lap 25. 26 goes up on the board. Matthew White is your leader, followed by Greg Evans, Kendall Paul, Justin Osterman, Trevor Ryan, and Ryan O'Donoghue. Ryan O'Donoghue trying to crack that top 5. He started 18th, Caleb. And so he has put on a master class of passing cars. We also want to welcome in anybody who's watching the P1 Broadcasting simulcast of the Elite Racing League. So if you've got both races up, thank you so much for doing that. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on both videos, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. As we near the end of stage 1, can Ryan O'Donoghue make it through Trevor Ryan? And can Justin Osterman make it through Kendall Paul? That's a little bit closer even than Trevor Ryan and Ryan O'Donoghue here, Caleb.
It was. Osterman actually looked up the inside of Kendall Paul, but thought better of it, backed off right at the turn-in. But Osterman is getting very, very good runs on these straightaways on Kendall Paul, but he's not able to get quite alongside to try anything. You can see how close that curb Osterman is able to get on the bottom side going through turn number 1. Turn number 2, kind of a similar thing. They're getting right on top of that curb there. That's how you want to drive in Indianapolis in these stock cars. You want to get as close to the bottom as you can there and try to straight line as much as possible. That's what Kendall Paul and Justin Osterman are both able to do very, very good here. It seems like, well, maybe not. I thought they were closing that gap down to Greg Evans a little bit. It looks like they caught up quite a bit there.
Yeah, Greg Evans has dropped almost 2.5 seconds back of Matthew White. And he's working. He's got a lap car in front of him. That is the 13 of Andrew Gates. And that may be backing Greg Evans up into Kendall Paul and Justin Osterman just a little bit. It also may be helping Kendall Paul because he's getting a sniff of the draft from Greg Evans. And that may be helping him keep Mr. Excitement Justin Osterman at bay as we wind down this first stage.
It might indeed. But right now, Greg Evans has clean air right in front of him. Able to get around that 13 Andrew Gates. Let's see if Kendall Paul and Osterman are able to get around him. Andrew Gates gets out of the way. Good on him. But that allows both Kendall Paul and Mr. Excitement Justin Osterman to close up on Greg Evans. They were 7/10 of a lap quicker than Greg Evans last time around. I wasn't able to see what's going on, but maybe Greg's tires. This is a rarity. If his tires have fallen off this bad, this is going to be this is interesting here, Murph.
You know, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if he just got caught up behind the lap car, and he's backed it down just to make sure no chances are taken. He knows there's a battle for position behind him. We're going to get back to this fight. Troy Carricker now leads this 4-car train. It's Carricker, Dunwoody, Zorn, and Crash Neon, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Sam Crow and Mike Rigney. And here's those two, led by Sam Crow. You'll see the John Van Varela special come into your picture there. Those two machines have made it to 11th and 12th, and those two cars started at the absolute back of this thing. Sam Crow began in 22nd, Mike Rigney in 19th. And so those two cars, along with teammate O'Donoghue, have passed a ton of machines. Meanwhile, Joshua Zorn gets by David Dunwoody, and he's looking to see if he can't make the pass on Troy Carricker, but he's going to run out of laps. We're coming to the end of the stage, Caleb.
Yeah, as he was able to get the move going down into turn number 3, able to get the run here. And it looks like he is faster than Carricker at the moment. Last time around was about 0.2 quicker. So we'll see if he's able to get a move done going into turn number 3 or possibly coming across the line, because basically when this pack comes across the line, well, Crash Neon's at the tail end of it. He's in 10th. So you can't have a run to the line here as the stage caution comes out.
You can. It will come out whenever Crash Neon crosses the line, and so there's not going to be a whole lot of additional action for these drivers because Crash Neon is the person who's going to trigger it. It triggers when the 10th place machine crosses the start-finish line. Joshua Zorn not close enough as Justin Osterman getting ready to make a dive on Kendall Paul. If he can do it before the yellow comes out, it'll count. Justin Osterman closes in through turn 1.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's a little bit too late. Right there, stage caution comes out, and Osterman was really close, and they were actually gaining still. Even then, we're gaining on Greg Evans there, but both of it seemed like Greg Evans really fell off the pace in those last 5 laps there to Matthew White, and that allowed Kendall and Justin Osterman to catch back up. But stage number 1 winner is going to be Matthew White in that 29 machine.
Absolutely so. Stage number 1 is brought to you by Track Racer. If you go to trackracer.com, you put in the web address. Just as I'm going to throw it in the chat, you get 5% of your order put into the AMA prize fund. That's www.trackracer.com. And we salute Matthew White, who has won Track Racer stage number 1 here at Indianapolis. Do also want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their support of the AMA and the series at Outland Custom Arms. Their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. Matthew White has now caught the pace truck, and it's going to take some time. This field was pretty spread out. You had the likes of Eric Quarter, James Hodgson. They were nearly a lap down, and so it's going to take a minute to get this field re-racked. Pace speed here at Indianapolis, 65, 70 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour in a stock car. Speed limit on pit road is going to be 60. And one of the things that you'll notice, Caleb, is the pit lane here is a little bit different in a stock car as opposed to an Indy car. The cones are in a little bit different of a spot.
Yeah, they're much earlier up the track. In the Indy car for the 500, or any time Indy car just comes here for iRacing, and in real life, it's actually within inside that pit wall there. So right where you kind of see that white line in the back there is where the pit cone usually is for pit in. Well, in the stock cars, because most of the time in the Cup Series they use a lot more pit boxes, they have to move the pit cones back quite significantly to able to use all those pit boxes and able to get all the cars stopped in time for pit lane. And pit X is also actually different. You're able to actually go how it actually is in real life in iRacing for the Indy cars. You can't go to the right here. Greg Evans beats out Matthew White, but you can't go outside the first line that's on the right. In the stock car version, you can on pit X, and not that will matter too much here because they should be able to only pit under stage cautions unless we somehow get green flag stops in stage number 3, to which we don't think will happen. They are able to go 40 laps on the tanks, so but it is a little bit different, as we said here.
It is. Something else is going to be different. Greg Evans wins the race off of pit road. He's going to be your leader, followed by Matthew White. Well, now Matthew White goes past, so maybe he didn't win the race off of pit road. Matthew White is your leader. You see 2 cars staying out. That is the 69 of Gerald Zucchelli, number 1 of Ted Craven. Craven pitted about 10 laps ago, and so he may be willing to stay out and take the wave around. Same for Zucchelli. He was in 15 laps ago, so they may be wanting to stay out and take the wave around, see if they can't get for Zucchelli back on the lead lap, and Ted Craven see if he can't get one of his back. He is currently 3 laps in arrears. I got to tell you, anytime you're in Indianapolis, either in the sim or Caleb in real life, it is special. There's so much history here. A lot of people don't know this, but did you know that all of the original bricks are still under the modern surface? Did you know that?
I did know that. That's one of the few things I did know about this track.
So did you go to the museum when you were here? Did you get a chance to
I did not. I decided that I wanted to just drink the entire time that morning.
So this is along with Daytona. In Daytona, it's called Daytona USA. There's one in Darlington that's rather small. There's also the International Motorsports Hall of Fame Museum in Talladega, Alabama, which is a rather small building. But Indianapolis, along with the Barber Collection in Alabama and the Honda Collection Hall in Motegi, Japan, is among the finest motorsport museums that you'll be able to find. That is on the grounds here. If you're an iRacing aficionado, they do have 7 rigs inside the museum now tuned to iRacing. And so that's always a ton of fun to go in there and take time. They had an all-time leaderboard at one point. Several prominent members of the IndyCar community had the fastest times. There was a problem with the software, and so those have been erased. But photographic evidence exists, Caleb Brashear, of those times. Meanwhile, we're getting ready to go back to green. I've got more Indianapolis lore as we get back to green flag racing. Greg Evans did win the race off of pit road. He will lead him back to green. Barney will throw the green flag in the air, and we are back under green. We've got 26 laps until we get to stage break number 2, and Greg Evans bolts into the lead. Matthew White second. Kendall Paul is third. How about Trevor Ryan and Troy Carricker? They've moved to 4th and 5th. Trevor Ryan smacks the wall coming off at turn number 1. Troy Carricker is going to try to look to the outside. Caleb, he slots back in line.
Yeah, he does. And right now, a battle for the lead. Matthew White, he didn't get the greatest jump on the initial start. Looks on the back of Greg Evans. Thinks better of it, but it's single file, basically all the way back to that is Mike Rigney. All the way back in what he started in the 11th spot. It is fairly single file, very, very early on. A little bit of side-by-side action, a little bit further back in the pack. That was Brian Sharp and Justin Osborne. Justin Osborne did not get the Gray's pit road. He's back in 15th. He restarted here. He
and Joshua Zorn both had long pit stops. Justin Osterman was in his box almost 30 seconds. And so Osterman would have been repairing damage with that. You see him slide underneath Brian Sharp. He's got Joshua Zorn there. So Mr. Excitement had taken some of the concrete or safer barrier with him at some point. And Justin Osterman trying to work his way back up through the field. Same for Joshua Zorn. And there's Zorn in 14th. A guy that we haven't talked a lot about tonight. Runs along in the 15th spot. That's the Marty Robbins special of Rick Fallows out of that DVD Motorsports stable. Teammates with Rigney, O'Donohue. I believe they've got Joshua Zorn in there with him, Sam Crow. But that's a pretty good group. And I got to tell you, Rick Fallows, he might be 15th now. I bet you a shiny new dime, Caleb, if he's running at the end, it's going to be better than 15th as Osterman dives deep on David Farnan, and that's going to cost Farnan a spot, and he almost collides with Brian Sharp. Sharp now with a challenge from Joshua Zorn to the outside, looking for that 13th spot.
Yeah, Zorn's going to get that position, running the outside line, able to just keep the momentum up. Zorn on a bit of a comeback, as we said here before, as well as Osterman. O'Donohue, well, he's already done his comeback. He's still just looking outside of the top 5 here. while we were looking at the midfield, Matthew White did get around Greg Evans for the lead, and he has separated himself from the rest of the pack here. Greg Evans in second, Kendall Paul in third, Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker, Ryan O'Donohue. It seems like everybody in the side, basically from Greg Evans all the way back to David Dunwoody in that 7th place position, and even Crash Ian are just kind of trying to play it patient. O'Donoghue's got a decent run on Troy Carricker going through turn number 1. Let's see if he's able to keep the momentum going through turn number 2. He might make a move going down the back straightaway here.
You know, he just might. Ryan O'Donohue right up on the back of Troy Carricker. He fades it to the inside. Not going to try the dive into turn number 3 just yet. But they are all together right here. You see Greg Evans leading the choo-choo train. Crash Neon in 8th is the caboose. So P2 through P8 all right together as Matthew White continues to set sail. Welcome everybody watching the P1 Broadcasting simulcast of the Elite Racing League season opener. 2026 Season B for those guys, those drivers. If you're tuning in here, put the other broadcasts up on a second monitor. You can have 2 premier iRacing leagues on at the same time. And if you've got 3 monitors, you got room to watch baseball or whatever else on the third, Caleb.
Yes, you do indeed. We just had a look on Kendall Paul. It looked like he was going to make a move going to turn number 1 on Greg Evans. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the pass done, and he lost a little bit of time to Trevor Ryan behind. And you still see just right behind him, Ryan O'Donohue. He's trying to get the move done on Troy Carricker, but he's not able to just get alongside enough to even think about getting a move in one of these corners. He doesn't have the greatest run here, but there's been multiple times over the past 3 to 4 laps where he's had really, really good runs, just still not able to get alongside. And you can see how he's basically on top of that curve going through all these corners. He's getting to the bottom as much as he can here, which is the way you want to drive Indianapolis. You want to get to that bottom as much as you can. You don't want to be up at all unless you're making a move around the outside, of course. He's got a run here. I think he's going to think better of it. Yes, he does. Slots back in. Just going to play it patiently for now here.
He does. Those 2 cars almost look like they are one. Jump up on the roof of Troy Carricker because he is stalking Trevor Ryan now. By far the best battle on the speedway is this one, and these cars all right together as Matthew White streaks away 2.5 seconds now over Greg Evans. Evans is not exactly firmly in control of second either. He's trying to deal with Kendall Paul, and all of these cars, Caleb, they're all right in a bundle.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers that started towards the back on the initial stage, even like Joshua Zorn, David Farnham, Justin Osterman, he's just inside this pack here. He actually trails Mike Rigney just outside of the top 10 spot, and that kind of, you got a little bit bigger gap to Farnham and Zorn, and those guys are starting to catch up on the rear of this field and get themselves within draft range in these stock cars. And it's kind of separating just a little bit. It's a little bit further. The gaps are a little bit bigger than they were going through turn number 1 last time around. Tim Crow looks like he's going to look up the inside, thinks better of it. And right now, everybody's getting really, really good runs, just not able to quite put the move on. Ryan O'Donohue, he's got really big run here, able to get the bottom. The corner, Troy Carricker goes a little bit high. Able to look underneath him. Let's see if O'Donohue is able to complete the pass going down the back straightaway.
Ryan O'Donohue's also got a healthy push from David Dunwoody headed down that back straightaway. I think Dunwoody wants to try to get through Troy Carricker as well. Carricker moves up the hill. O'Donohue goes through, and now David Dunwoody is going to see if he can't make it into the 6th spot. Unfortunately for Dunwoody, now there he goes. He's going to make it, and now Crash Neon moves to the bottom of Troy Carricker, but Carricker slams the door in turn 4.
He did slam the door in turn number 4. Crash had to back off there, but Crash has a momentum at the moment. Troy Carricker trying to get back around David Dunwoody, and that's kind of opened the gap. The O'Donohue pass has kind of opened the gap between him and Trevor Ryan. just a little bit. He's dropped a little bit further back, but he's still within draft range. To see if O'Donoghue is able to keep the momentum going forward. He was one of the fastest cars in stage number 1. This stage is a little bit shorter, so he's able to push a little bit harder than he did in stage number 1. We'll see if he's able, by time we get to about halfway in the stage, if he's able to keep up with his teammate Greg Evans or even the likes of Kendall Paul, for that matter.
Crash Neon just about smacked the fence in the north end and the north chute between turns 3 and 4. He had that car 40 degrees out of shape in pursuit of Troy Carricker. He's almost been able to make that dive a couple of times. Meanwhile, behind him, Sam Crow, Mike Rigney, they've snuck into the top 10. Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman is now 11th. And David Farnan and Joshua Zorn have joined the party as Neon dives underneath Troy Carricker. Move Crash Neon into the 7th spot, and now Troy Carricker will drop to 8th.
And Troy Carricker is dropping significantly ever since Ryan O'Donoghue got, and it's kind of like a train effect. You know, once you get past once, you just kind of fall back, and look how big that gap is from Ryan O'Donoghue all the way back to David Dunwoody in that 6th place spot. They built quite a big gap here. And I that's probably with just outside of draft range, if I imagine.
Yeah, David Dunwoody is about a second behind Ryan O'Donoghue, and so that that large battle has split into 2 distinct groups as we watch Ryan O'Donoghue work all over the backside of Trevor Ryan. Matthew White has, speaking of gaps, established 3.2 seconds over Greg Evans and Kendall Paul. Those are the front 2 cars in this train. Ryan O'Donoghue trying to make the move alongside, coming off of turn 2. That is brave, but he gets it done, Caleb. He'll make the pass going down into turn 3.
He gets the pass done before he even gets to turn number 3, able to get a really good line through the corner. And the main difference I'm seeing O'Donoghue, he's just able to get to the bottom of the corner significantly better than any other drivers around him on board with Sam Crow and Troy Carricker. But you just see how the rest of the field is just struggling to get to the bottom here, and O'Donoghue's just able to do it. But right now, Sam Crow, Troy Carricker are going to go side by side down the front stretch. There's going to be a duel go as they go into turn number 1, but Sam Crow has the outside line. I think he has the momentum, and he is able to clear Troy Carricker in the middle of the apex of the corner and able to set sail off in the distance on Crash Neon in front.
He is. Sam Crow started that pass to the outside, and now Justin Osterman is going to try to come to the inside of Troy Carricker. There is history between the 94 and the 53, quite a lot of it, so this will be interesting to see how it plays out with Justin Osterman and Troy Carricker on the track again. It always seems to work out like that, Caleb. If you've had dispute with somebody in the past, you always seem to find them in the future, don't you?
You do indeed. For me, it's always me and Seb. Unfortunately, we both love each other, but for some reason, I really like his left rear tire. It just looks. For some reason, I always come into contact with it. I don't mean to any time, but it just seems like whether it's me or Seb, or I'm sure you have somebody, Murph, where you always just come to contact with somebody you don't really mean to, but you just always seem to always battle each other all over the racetrack, and it just seems like you always come together in these certain moments.
You know it is. We're watching Justin Osterman work on Troy Carricker. This is the battle for the 9th spot. It is the best one on the racing surface. Justin Osterman going to try to dive to the bottom in the north end, and he'll make that pass in turn number 4, move Justin Osterman back to 9th. Troy Carricker is now 10th, and he has really fallen in this stage. David Dunwoody has started to claw back in on Trevor Ryan. Trevor Ryan has lost is starting to lose, and there's Trevor Ryan. He has started to lose Ryan O'Donoghue now. Dunwoody is coming forward, so is Crash Neon. They have left Sam Crow. They've got about 1.3 seconds in hand as Dunwoody goes down to the bottom of the track for reasons we don't quite know.
He hit the wall.
He hit the wall, okay. Well, he's go ahead.
Well, he hit the wall, and it does that oversteer thing where you hit the wall. So iconic here at turn number 2 specifically, where you hit that wall and you just shoot to the inside. That's what happened there coming off the corner for Dunwoody.
There you go. We'll have a look at David Dunwoody's machine as he heads down the front straightaway. We don't see any obvious damage on the right side of that car just yet, so he may have gotten away with it, unlike James Hodgson. And Hodgson currently marred in 19th, in the 19th position, and he's got to still be nursing some damage. Caleb, just trying to survive. Dunwoody, that time coming off of turn 2, he kept it really tight. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, he did. He is pushing that car to its absolute limits right now. Even with that wall tap, it seems like he's still got a pretty good pace. He's able to gain on Trevor Ryan still, just a little bit, only about half a tenth last time around. But he's got to keep it going forward because Craft Neon and IndyCar, we know him on the channel for IndyCar. Well, of course, he's going to know this track better than anybody else, probably better than most people in this race. So he's got to watch out for that right behind him. Speaking
of battles, Ryan O'Donoghue has now caught the back of Kendall Paul. O'Donoghue, the last time through, was the only car that was within shouting distance on speed of Matthew White. Ryan O'Donoghue, currently the second quickest car at Indianapolis, but he's got 2 more to negotiate. The first being this man, Kendall Paul. Ryan O'Donoghue, there he is. We're right on board with him. He's looking to see if he can't get around Kendall Paul, but you can see the gap up to Matthew White. Matthew White is starting to fall back to Greg Evans. That gap was almost 4 seconds at one point. It's now down to 3. Matthew White still with a comfortable lead. Let's see if Ryan O'Donoghue can make the move on Kendall Paul here.
Well, he's got the momentum going, and he's just kind of playing it patient. It seems like that's the key to his his race right now. Is just playing it patient. You can just see Kendall Paul absolutely going over that curve. Ryan O'Donoghue a little bit wide, but he's able to keep the momentum forward. He's got a really good run here. Does he look up the inside? A little bit too far back, I think, to try to make a move there and not cost him too much time. But you just see how O'Donoghue, again, just able to get to the bottom of that corner and just keep up the momentum. I thought he was going to look there, Murph. It looked like he was going to send it up the inside turn number 4, but thinks better of it.
I think a combination of things happened there. He might have thought he was a little bit too close. The car appeared to slide out. You saw the hands working through the windshield. The other thing is you saw Ryan O'Donoghue very visibly lift out of the power, but he comes right back on Kendall Paul in turn number 1. Those two machines look just about like one car as they travel around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have crossed halfway. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining in on all of the iRacing fun here. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. You can get in on all the action. If you've got 2 monitors, you can pull up the Elite Racing League P1 broadcasting simulcast that's going on right now over there. They've got 500 miles tonight at Pocono of all places, Caleb. And if we look in on that race at the moment, well, it's going to take me a minute. To figure that out.
It's going to take him a minute, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to take him a minute.
Here's a name for you that people on the channel are familiar with. Primetime John Stellard leads it over at Pocono at lap 110 of 200. He's in a fierce duel with Chris Albrecht, Daniel Falkingham, Chad Frankenfield, and Tate Lytle. Your top 5, Ryan Campbell, Justin Rexing, Seb Alexander, Mason Mitchum, and Craig Forsyth are the remainder of the top 10. And that's Pocono. They've still got some work to do there. Lap 110 of 200. They're just past halfway. We're just past halfway, Caleb. They're going twice as far as we are, though. They may also be going almost twice as well. They're not going twice as fast, but they're going around Pocono about 15 seconds a lap faster, Caleb?
Yeah, same distance. I think I guess it depends. If it's a fixed setup, it's going to be within a 41-second range there. So, in terms of race pace, so that's about 12 seconds a lap quicker than our fastest lap at the moment. Right now, it's actually 15 seconds quicker with how the tires wear. But yeah, those Indy cars at Pocono. Well, I actually prefer to forget about it based on how my recent results have gone, both in FIS and fixed, as you see Kendall Paul and Ryan O'Donohue. O'Donohue getting very, very close to that wall. It seems like he's dropped back to last year's winner in 2025, but they are both gaining on Greg Evans still, this time around, still about half a tenth faster with just over 5 laps to go in the stage.
They are, and they're in reverse order of the speed. And Ryan
O'Donohue hits the wall.
Yeah, O'Donohue just smacked the wall coming off of turn number 1, and he's going to have to gather that number 14 machine back in. We're right on board with him. He just now gets it back to full power, and we'll see how that affects his machine. Eric Corder has acquired the meatball, and he's respecting that on pit lane now for over a minute. So things go from bad to worse for the 79 of Eric Corder. Meanwhile, Crash Neon has finally navigated past David Dunwoody. So move Crash Neon into 6th, put Dunwoody 7th, and they've got Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, right behind them in 8th. Yeah,
Osterman is on an absolute charge at the moment. He is one of the fastest cars. He's still doing 55.6s. This time around, he did a 55.7. David Dunwoody looking up the inside. Crash Neon a little bit farther back. Crash Neon hits the wall very hard coming off turn number 1. That allows David Dunwoody to look up the inside. Not able to get the move done. He might have the momentum going off the corner, though. And Justin Osterman is going to push David Dunwoody going down the back straightaway, but I think they're a little bit too far back to try anything.
Yeah, David Dunwoody he got loose, had to get out of the gas going into turn number 2, and that allowed Crash Neon to maintain the position. Dunwoody will try it again into turn 3, a little bit too far back, can't make it happen, and Justin Osterman right there trying to pounce, but Osterman lifts out of it to give Dunwoody another run at it. Fearsome fight, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Sam Crow, by the way, is coming in 9th, and Joshua Zorn has made it back into the 10th spot. Mike Rigney, after he smacked the wall, has dropped back to 12th as we ride on board David Dunwoody. One more time, we've got 3 more in the stage after this one, and then we'll have a 40-lap run to the finish to complete the 250 miles here at Indianapolis. David Dunwoody way loose off of turn 2, and here comes Justin Osterman.
Mr. Excitement doesn't look like he's going to put a move on. It looks like he's just going to try to push David Dunwoody forward at the end of the stage here. Dunwoody gets a really sends it in deep there, going to turn number 3. That's going to allow Osterman to go on by David Dunwoody a little bit too hard there on the send going to turn number 3, and that actually loses both of them a little bit of time. Not only Crash Neon, but now they've introduced Sam Crow into the picture for this battle. Just inside the top 10 here.
Josh Zorn too. Joshua Zorn is right behind them. So is Troy Carricker, and so this kind of group that has been racing in the back half of the top 10, they continue to do so, and that group is reforming now. Crash Neon at the head of the line, then Osterman, Dunwoody, Sam Crow, Joshua Zorn, Troy Carricker, and Mike Rigney trying to cling to the back of this train. We've got 3 to go in the stage, 2 to go this time. The question, though, has to be, is Ryan O'Donohue has pulled right back up to Kendall Paul. We'll get on that fight. The question has to be, does anybody have anything for Matthew White? White not racing for a championship here. Neither is Greg Evans. The championship standings right now, well, I take it back. Greg Evans is racing for a championship. Kendall Paul is 2nd. O'Donohue 3rd. Sam Crow, and then John Houchin's your top 5. Carricker, Neon, Dunwoody, Say Lewis Hayes, James Hodgson, Justin Osterman, and Christopher Logan are the remainder of your championship 12 at this point. Those are your chasers. We've gone back to that system. For a second, I got it mixed up in my head. I thought that Greg Evans was running for a championship in the trucks. Not so. 8 wins, 7 poles on the season for Greg Evans. He runs second right now, and the question becomes, do you think that Evans is saving his stuff? Is he using these first 2 runs as kind of a test session to gauge what he needs to do to win a race? Or is Matthew White really that superior here?
Well, Matthew White has, in the 2 starts he's had, has showed significant pace in the first 2 races. He got pole position at Chicagoland and was one of the fastest cars there. He dropped a little bit further back initially in stage number 1, and then he had a big blunder at the start of stage number 2 and had a money shift there on the initial restart. So we know Matthew White, if he's able to get to the end of the race, has the talent to beat Greg Evans in these Grand National races. He's actually making his way around turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. He is going to win stage number 2 here in the Grand National Series. Greg Evans is solidly behind them, but you look at the gaps there, they're at the end of this stage, they are running very identical lap times, actually within a couple thousandths of each other besides that last lap there. And you look on board right now, there is a gaggle just inside the top 10. Justin Osman was able to get around Trevor Ryan for that 6th place spot. David Dunley in 8th, Sam Crow in 9th, and Joshua Zorn was that 10th place car that brought out that stage caution here.
Yes, he was. So just as it was in stage number 1, the winner of Blackmagic Studios stage break number 2 is Matthew White. Blackmagic Studios are a small operation dedicated to high-quality iRacing paints and wraps. For any car, visit them on Discord or Facebook for your next iRacing paint. I can personally vouch for that. When you see me on the track on P1, it is behind the wheel of a Blackmagic Studios wrapped IR18, and we're fixing, Caleb, to have a big race for the IndyCar community. That's coming up on Sunday night, 8 o'clock. It is the Votive Indy Derby, 300 miles, Kentucky. That's always a fun one. Caleb, you're gonna be in that race. I know.
Yes, I am, Murph. We have 6 i5G drivers going.
You have 6 of those. I will, of course, be there along with Seb Alexander from Indy Alliance Racing. We've got a bunch of cars from the Global Alliance that are ready to go. You do not want to miss that race. It is truly a crown jewel event. The who's who of the IndyCar community are going to be there. Several pros have entered that one. 8 o'clock Sunday night right here on P1 for Votive Indy Derby 5. Also want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their support of the AMA. At Outland Custom Arms, I can't talk, Caleb. That's bad news. At Outland Custom Arms, their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot as Matthew White leads the field down the pit lane. Now, remember, Greg Evans beat him off of the pits the last time through, Caleb.
He did indeed. It was an absolute duel to the pit exit line. So it was very, very close. But Matthew White has the advantage at the moment, just being out in front. Let's see if he's able to get a cleaner pit stop this time around. Greg Evans, I don't think has any damage, so it should just be equal on times no matter what. They all go into their pit boxes. Let's see how they're able to do here coming off pit lane. And this time out, Matthew White able to get the jump on Greg Evans, Kendall Paul in 3rd, Ryan O'Donohue in 4th, Trevor Ryan in 5th. And once again, Justin Osman has a very long pit stop here. I think he's getting damage repaired.
Yeah, I mean, Indianapolis, along with Daytona and Talladega, any of the intermediate 1.5 milers, we talk about how some tracks are aero sensitive, some tracks are not. This track, very aerodynamically sensitive. And if you got damage, Caleb, you want to get it fixed. James Hodgson's still repairing damage from earlier in the race. So too is John Houchins. Brian Sharp has pulled his car into the pit lane. He's been there for 9 laps under extended repair. So too Sean Roberts. He's over a minute. Now the good news, Indianapolis, you can fix a lot of damage. The caution laps are pretty long here.
Yes, they are. They'll feel terribly long here in the stock cars, but they don't feel as long as, like, say, Daytona or Talladega or even Pocono for that matter. But they're still pretty long here, so you're able to get quite a bit of damage repaired if you're John Houchins. And you see another number of drivers coming down pit lane again. I think they're going to be very, very close on fuel. So I believe most of these guys are actually just going to top up on fuel to try and make it as long as possible here.
Yes, they are led down pit lane by Greg Evans. So Matthew White, Kendall Paul, Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker do not stop. There they are.
Oh. Sean Roberts lost out of pit lane here, trying to beat the pace car.
Yeah, there's Sean Roberts. Did he? He did not. Well, he may have. He's going around it anyway. So Matthew White, Kendall Paul, Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker did not top up. Evans on back did punch the fuel tank completely full of Sunoco Racing fuel, and I gotta wonder, Caleb, is 36 laps really that chancy?
It's going to be close. It's going to be I don't think it's going to be an Atlanta situation to where you had the entire field, only going 150 miles an hour. I don't think it would be like that. But I think if you go that slow to begin with, if you're pacing around 150 miles an hour, you're just going to lose the draft anyways. So I think it's just going to be very, very close for all the cars that are on the track now to make it to the end here.
Barney getting ready to throw the green flag in the air. We've got a bit of a problem. Matthew White blinking severely. The drivers that pitted did so. The drivers that pitted demoted themselves back to 6th. That's going to put James Hodgson up in 5th. Off in pursuit of Matthew White, it's going to be Trevor Ryan jumping Kendall Paul off the start, and there is a wad of machinery back around Greg Evans, James Hodgson, Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yes, it is. Ryan O'Donoghue up the inside of James Hodgson. Now he's going to look up the inside of Andrew Gates. He is multiple laps down. He is tailing the rear end of his teammate Greg Evans in front. Troy Carricker is going to go around Kendall Paul. I believe Kendall is going to try to do the fuel save as much as he can here. I believe most of these cars actually out on track are just going to try to fuel save as much as possible. So we might see some slower speeds in the opening portion of this stage here. And right now, Trevor Ryan's got a pretty decent run on our leader, Matthew White. But so does Greg Evans up the inside of Kendall Paul. And gets the pass done before they even get to turn number 1 here.
He does. 2 schools of thought here. Stand on it and hope there's a caution, or try to save gas. We saw in the Area 51 race on Tuesday night, Caleb. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that one. We actually saw those 2 strategies converge, and it was not one that was that totally favored one way or the other. Craig Forsyth wound up winning it with the mega save, but Matt Wagner decided he was going to go for broke, made the extra pit stop, broke the draft, and he nearly came back and won the race. He wound up third, but Matt Wagner nearly able to pull out the win, even though he made an extra pit stop.
Yeah, sometimes you mainly get that on the road course side, not so much the ovals. A lot of the drivers, especially on the IndyCar side, are able to hit a certain fuel number and able to make the pit stops work when it comes all said and done. But right now, these stock cars, it's not that easy to fuel save. Trevor Ryan kind of slapping the wall there on the entry of turn number 3 there. Troy Carricker able to go around, and look who's right behind him. Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue starting towards the rear of this thing. He's had to claw his way back through the field basically since the start of this thing, but right now he's got the guy who's been second the entire race, and they are fanning out going down the back straightaway just behind him. Sam Crow able to get around Kendall Paul. David Dunway able to make up some spots. Mike Rigney as well. Justin Osterman trying to go at the inside of the lap car of Andrew Gates. There is basically a giant pack, basically starting from Sam Crow on back.
Yeah, there is, and they're not all that far away when you stop and think about it from Ryan O'Donoghue. Just about 0.3 of a second. Justin Osterman will move to the inside of Kendall Paul, and now it's a question of, do you want to burn it now, or do you want to save it now and burn it later? Right now, it appears as though Caleb, the decision from White, Carricker, and Ryan is burn the gas. Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donoghue, they're following along in the draft. Sam Crow has started to come forward. Mike Rigney has started to come forward. Justin Osterman is back to 10th as we ride on board Greg Evans. The front 4 right together, and Evans is shutting the car off going into turn 1. You hear it?
Yeah, he is clutch coasting basically.
No, he was flipping the ignition switch. That wasn't a clutch and coast. The car was off.
I don't think that was.
Let's see. Let's get back on board Greg Evans. We'll get the get up here. I could have swore I heard that car cut off, but let's listen at him a minute.
I believe he might just be lifting, but just doing a massive fuel save, just trying to stay within the draft and just lift very, very early on the straightaways to just try to save as much fuel as possible. He doesn't want to stay within draft range of Trevor Ryan in front, but he also doesn't want to lose too much time to the leaders either. So it's kind of like a balance thing he has to do here to try to save the fuel. Not as easy to save fuel in the stock cars as it is in the Indy cars here on the P1 channel. You don't have any sort of map selection. It's actually straightforward. The only way you can save fuel is 1, be in the draft of another car in front, and 2, you're basically right foot. And that's pretty much it. You look through turn number 1 again. I think he's just lifting massively going into both ends of the track. And so we know his strategy. He knows he can make it to the end. It's not like a massive, clutch coast in the middle of the corners like you often see a lot of times if in these stock cars if they have to make a massive fuel save.
Troy Carricker is not saving fuel. He has gone by Matthew White. Troy Carricker has now established a 1.2 second lead. That happened while we were looking at Greg Evans and seeing exactly how he was playing his strategy. So they are saving. It's a matter of how much. Troy Carricker has decided he's not going to save anything. They do have an extra set of tires sitting on the pit road. And so if there is a caution flag, everybody's going to pit anyway. You might as well take that gamble. If there's a caution flag, the yellow light comes out. Troy Carricker looks like a genius. He comes in, he gets 4 fresh tires, and he gets the lead. question becomes, when do you go, right? When do you feel as though you've saved enough? The other thing is, Caleb, as we look at Matthew White, do you think Greg Evans was maybe experimenting a little bit?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because there's no real reason if you're going to experiment, especially at the stages. Obviously he has the championship. He's got a hefty lead going into the chase. There's no reason to really experiment in stage number 1, stage number 2, because you're not going to have that draft variable that he had when he's already a second and a half back, like he was in stage number 1. Here, he has to work. This is a completely new variable. He's going to have to deal with dirty air and try to fuel save while doing it. So I don't think he was trying to experiment. I do think he was falling a little bit back to Matthew White just over the course of the run here. And because Matthew White did have clean air basically the entirety of stage number 1 and stage number 2.
Well, here's another couple of things to consider. Trevor Ryan is clutching and coasting or shutting the car off, one of the two. I'm pretty sure that was a clutch and coast. The other part is Matthew White is blinking. He started strobing under the caution flag. Matthew White blinking very severely, and if you're Matthew White, you don't want to glitch out and lose what is potentially the race win here. Now, Troy Carricker is your leader, but he's decided to go for broke. Trevor Ryan clutching and coasting behind Matthew White. Greg Evans in a massive fuel save mode as well, as is pretty much everybody in this pack. Last thing you want is a connectivity disconnect, Caleb.
Absolutely the last thing you want. He's had a little bit of internet issues over the course of the race. It seemed to only be under caution, though. Whenever it's been green flag running, it seems like it's kind of been pretty all right. But you could see just how close this pack is. A lot closer than both stage number 1 and stage number 2 after about slightly less than 15 laps green flag running. So the pack is a lot closer together, mainly to do with the fuel saving. We're seeing some moves there. Ryan O'Donoghue getting really close to the wall in turn number 1. That's going to allow Kendall Paul in the back there, right behind Trevor Ryan, to make a move up the inside. It's going to be a drag race going down the back straightaway. And they have lost significant time to Justin Osterman in front, who is also looking up the inside. Greg Evans going into turn number 3.
Yeah, Justin Osterman fell all the way to the back of this train at one point, and I think he may have realized he's not going to be able to make it because he has passed cars in wholesale fashion the last couple of laps. He's gone past Greg Evans, and now he'll work on Trevor Ryan. Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, has decided, well, if I can't make it, I'll at least be exciting. But he's pulled now up to the back of Trevor Ryan and put a little bit of a gap on Greg Evans.
He has, and he's closed up on Trevor Ryan, as you said, and he's going to push as hard as he can, but he's still got to manage his tires as always. And if we do get a caution, that basically works out for both Troy Carricker, Justin Osterman, a lot of the drivers out front, even Matthew White. Matthew White is actually slightly at a disadvantage being at the lead of this pack. He's not going to be able to save as much fuel as he can, but he can set the pace of the field, but not having the draft in front is just going to hurt him just a little bit. And we talk about whether or not a caution is going to come out, and that really just throws the race up on its head. But you look at the past history here in the AMA, we had in 2024, the first time we came here, there were 7 cautions, 2 of those being the stage caution. And last year, if you don't count the stage cautions themselves, this race went caution-free. So it's possible to do it here at Indianapolis. It's very possible to go caution-free and don't count the stages and basically just get these long green flag runs more so than any other track on the schedule.
Mr. Excitement living up to his name right now. That you could not have fit a sheet of paper. And Trevor Ryan has now dropped behind Greg Evans, Kendall Paul, and now Ryan O'Donoghue. You couldn't have fit a sheet of paper between Justin Osterman and the outside wall coming off of turn 2 that last time as he made the move on Trevor Ryan. And now Ryan dropping back to the back of the pack. And Justin Osterman goes to work on Matthew White. This would be for the second spot. The front 11 are really pretty much all together. There is a large gap, and you see how wide that camera shot is? There's the interval between Troy Carricker and Matthew White. And then from Matthew White back to Mike Rigney, they are all right on top of each other, Caleb.
Yeah, they are hounding each other as they let Troy Carricker kind of just lead this thing. And right now they're actually equaling almost the same lap time as Troy Carricker. Carricker only about half a tenth quicker, but it does seem like Troy Carricker, either maybe his tires are starting to fall off, but he is not building that gap anymore being out in front. So right now he's basically just praying for a caution to come out at this point. And not to say that's too different from what his original strategy was. I think even if he did pit, at most he would be at the front of the. Even if he did pit with new tires, I don't think he's going to gain any of that time up. Right in front of this pack is James Hodgson coming out of pit lane right now, so that's also going to play a factor. But Matthew White actually 0.4 of a lap quicker than Troy Carricker last time around, so it seems like Matthew White is going to go full bore from here on out. Justin Osterman right behind him. Greg Evans does seem to be tuned up the pace just a little bit. Kendall Paul as well. Ryan O'Donohue, he's dropped a little bit further back. Kendall Paul was originally behind him. It seems like he's gotten back around. So the pack is getting a little bit more strung out at the moment here, Murph.
They are. Troy Carricker has caught James Hodgson, and that is giving him some dirty air. Matthew White's turned the wick up, and he is now caught Troy Carricker for the lead. They've got Justin Osterman and Greg Evans in tow. Carricker trying to get past the lapper of James Hodgson. We've got a poll in the chat. Who's going to win the fuel duel at the Brickyard? Is it going to be Troy Carricker or is it going to be the Savers? Troy Carricker right now has the lead. He's got 20 circuits to go this time by, but the Savers have decided it's time to go, and they have now caught Troy Carricker. Matthew White dives to the inside on Carricker for the lead.
He dives to the inside. It's going to be a drag race as they go into the front straightaway. Justin Osterman also gets a pretty good run there, but Troy Carricker just able to make the outside momentum. But Justin Osterman,
we're going to go 3 wide.
Force it 3 wide.
Troy
Osterman backs out.
Well,
so does Troy Carricker.
Yeah, I was going to say Troy Carricker looked over and saw the 2 faster cars to his left and decided discretion was the better part of valor. Now Greg Evans is going to go through. So the battle is now between Osterman, White, Evans. Carricker has fallen back to 4th. And Ryan, they've got a gap on Ryan O'Donohue. They've also got a bit of a gap on Kendall Paul. But the front of this field, they still have yet, Caleb. Well, they still have yet to go toward ultimate pace. The best lap of the race right now, Matthew White, 53.358. His last time through was a 54.409. So 55.409. So they're 2 seconds off what the ultimate pace is here. As White's going to dive to the inside of James Hodgson, followed by Justin Osterman, excuse me. And this would be a great run for Osterman too, in that Osterman was on the podium last week at Atlanta. He's got a chance to be on the podium here again today in Indianapolis.
Yeah, Osterman has had, not only in this series, but he's had a couple Truck Series podiums recently as well, Murph. He's been on kind of a streak here. He's been on a hot streak of getting inside the top 3 on the podium in these broadcast races. Thinks up the inside of Matthew White. Matthew White had a bit of a wiggle going to turn number 3. Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, going to the inside, going to turn number 4. He misses the bottom of the corner slightly. That's going to allow Greg Evans to catch back up. This is going to be 3 wide going down the front stretch, I guarantee it.
Is Greg Evans going to force it 3 wide? White and Osterman still door handle to door handle as they hit the yard of bricks. Osterman with the advantage and the racing line going into turn 1. Matthew White bites back on the outside. They touch in turn 1. Those 2 cars are together now.
They are. They touch again. Osterman trying to get to the bottom of the corner. His car is massively understeering on the bottom side there, going up into Matthew White. Greg Evans going to try that high side line. They're still side by side, one lap later. Now that's reintroduced Ryan O'Donoghue into the mix and kind of reintroduced this pack altogether, with the exception of James Hodgson being the lap car in the mix. Matthew White trying to make the outside line work. Greg Evans right behind him, and O'Donoghue is all over his teammate as well. But right now, Matthew White goes to the outside. Still not able to quite clear Mr. Excitement on the outside there. Now he finally clears him.
He does, but Justin Osterman's going to fight right back on the outside. Here comes Osterman back to the inside on Matthew White. They're going to duel for the lead one more time at Indianapolis. We've got... Whoa!
Oh, what a save from Mr. Excitement.
Justin Osterman, my goodness gracious, he had that car flat sideways. He does save the machine. Unfortunately for him, he's made the tires very angry. And here comes Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donoghue. They're going to try to get past. They'd like to go fight Matthew White for the lead, but so would Justin Osterman. Big send into turn 3.
A big send, and that allows Greg Evans to catch right back up onto the rear of Justin Osterman. I don't think there was any contact between the top two there, but Justin Osterman has definitely lost a little bit of time to our leader, and Greg Evans now all over the back of Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement. Ryan O'Donoghue, he's dropped actually a little bit further back, and that's allowed Troy Carricker and Kendall Paul right behind him. Kendall Paul sends it deep on Troy Carricker, able to get the move done. So, and Trevor Ryan's also going to go through. Troy Carricker down 2 spots just within turn number 1. And now Sam Crow looks up the inside of Troy Carricker.
Yeah, Troy Carricker's tires have to be just about toast. Here comes David Dunwoody. Dunwoody going to try to make that move. Crash Neon is at the back of that queue. Troy Carricker, he led for a while in this third stage, but I think it was the...
Osprey looks up the inside for the lead.
One more
Gets
time.
Alongside.
I think he hit the grass. He didn't just hit the curb down there, Caleb. He hit the grass. Did you see how upset that car got down in turn 3? My goodness, Justin Osterman is pushing hard. And all that does is slow his momentum down. He has to get out of it. Greg Evans now right to the backside of the 53.
Yeah, it's Justin Osterman all over the back of that number 29 machine. Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donoghue are just kind of lurking at the moment. And that's reintroduced last year's winner, Kendall Paul, into the mix as well as Trevor Ryan. Sam Crow has dropped a little bit further back. But Trevor Ryan, this is a top 6 battle with just under 15 laps to go here, Murph.
It is. Justin Osterman's going to look to the inside going into turn 3 one more
Deep.
time. He drives it deep. Matthew White hung to the outside. Justin Osterman, Matthew White, they touch. White's going to maintain the lead. How many more times can Osterman do that before one of those two cars winds up backward is going to be the question, because Justin Osterman is sending it at least 5 car lengths deeper than Matthew White at this point.
He is. He's going to have another look. Sends it in. Well, this time he actually backs out of it. Matthew White able to get the better run there through turn number 1. We'll see if he's able to keep the momentum. He's right on the rear bumper of that 29 machine, but Greg Evans also has a really good corner. These guys are going flat out at this moment. I don't believe there's going to be I don't think they're fuel saving anymore, Murph. I think they're good.
That may be. Last time through, Matthew White, though, 56.021. Justin Osterman to the inside one more time, turn number 3.
Looks to the inside. Matthew White kind of running a little bit high in that third lane. Justin Osterman trying to get to the bottom of the corner. You can see how much that car is understeering on that bottom side there, but Matthew White able to keep the momentum, not able to quite clear Osterman on the bottom, and Osterman's got a run going down the front straightaway into turn number 1.
He does. We know Justin Osterman's going to send it deep here. Matthew White, Osterman right together. They rub door handles one more time. Osterman, you can see both cars big wiggles, and now they hit going into turn 2, and that means that Greg Evans is now right there. Justin Osterman drifts it down around on the bottom. He'll grab the lead. Matthew White and Greg Evans going to go after it for P2.
And that's going to allow Kendall Paul into the mix, and he actually backs out of it. He doesn't want any part of what's going to happen. Ryan O'Donohue looks up the inside at Kendall Paul, but right now the top two have kind of broken a little bit away. Osterman has set his sights off in the distance. One of the fastest cars in the field. He's made multiple comebacks through the field, but so is Kendall Paul, so is Ryan O'Donohue. And right now, we're seeing the Dragon Tail. We see this usually in Indy cars. We don't see it too much on the stock car side. Justin Osterman has built a little bit of a gap to Matthew White behind.
It would. Justin Osterman bidding for what would be a signature win here in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Osterman has made 174 starts in the AMA. He does have 6 wins, but this would be by far, Caleb, the biggest. Osterman with now a 25, we'll call it 25 hundredths of a second lead, about 5 car lengths now over Matthew White. Greg Evans lurks in third. He's going to cross the line this time. He'll have 11 laps to go, Caleb.
He's got 11 laps. He's trying to Dragon Tail as much as possible. And now Matthew White has fallen into the clutches of Greg Evans. And now Kendall Paul, he's got a massive run going up the inside at turn number 1 on Greg Evans. And he sends it really deep, but Greg Evans is going to try to perform the cutback on him. Going into turn number 2, they're side by side through short shoot. Greg Evans able to get that spot back in turn number 2. And they both lost a little bit of time to Matthew White in front.
They did, and that's also meant that Ryan O'Donohue closes right up on the back of Kendall Paul. We'll see if Ryan O'Donohue cares to make a move going into turn 3. He does not. And so those 3 remain nose to tail. Matthew White gets about a 3 car length advantage, but Justin Osterman is pulling away. Osterman now 0.7 of a second ahead of Matthew White.
He is, and he's pulling away a little bit. He's set himself a gap. He only has, this time by, 10 laps to go here for his biggest win. Greg Evans, he's got a big run on Matthew White, thinks better of it. And Kendall Paul also getting a big run, but too far back to try to do anything. This battle for basically second on back is getting very, very dicey. Ryan O'Donohue gets very, very close to the wall there. Trevor Ryan did hit the wall there, or at least tapped it. This is getting very, very close with under 10 to go.
It is getting close with under 10 to go. We're going to get 9 laps remaining this time through. Justin Osterman had as much as an 0.8 of a second lead. That's now closed down to 0.3. Matthew White storms back to the back of the Outland Custom Arms Chevrolet. Can Matthew White take his machine to victory lane? 9 laps to go at Indy.
9 laps to go in Indy. I think Osterman has cooked his tires a little bit, possibly pushing a little bit too hard. Last time through, he missed both 1 and 2, and he basically threw that entire gap away to Matthew White. And right now, that 29 machine, he's pulled away from Greg Evans a little bit, and now is caught right back up on that 53 machine. He's got a run going down the back straightaway. I think he's a little bit too far back, though. But right now, Justin Osterman, he had quite a bit of advantage, and right now he's got to defend like his life depends on it with 8 to go at the line.
Now, if you thought Justin Osterman was tenacious trying to get the lead, you ought to see him defend it. It's going to be just as difficult to pass him as it was for Matthew White to hold him off. They come back through the yard of bricks. 8 laps to go, 20 miles at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For Justin Osterman, is he going to be able to take home the Brickyard 250 here in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series? Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you like this, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We are right together now. Matthew White is there to the inside of Osterman. Not quite enough. Osterman throws the block.
Closes the door shut. Now Matthew White gets the move done on the outside. He's still got a fender alongside. Osterman tries to look back in the short chute. Osterman able to hold on to the position for now, but that's also going to allow Greg Evans introduce himself in the battle lead, as well as Kendall Paul. These guys side by side going down the front stretch. Matthew White trying to follow Justin Osman as close as he can. Justin Osman throwing the blocks here. Matthew White trying to look around the outside. Not quite alongside there, but he's able to get to the bottom of the corner. They go through the short chute. The top three are nose to tail here. He looks up the inside going to turn number 2. It's getting close. Matthew White almost on the grass there. He's going to have to back out of it, but right now the top 4 are all right there. They're possibly going to go 3 wide down the back straightaway.
They thought about it. Greg Evans looked on Matthew White, didn't quite make the move. Now White's going to dive to the inside of Osterman going into turn 3. Kendall Paul to the inside of Evans as well. Greg Evans is going to hold off Kendall Paul. The door handle for the lead one more time. Matthew White makes the move. Move Matthew White back to the front, coming to get 6 laps to go.
Matthew White back to the lead here, but does Osterman have anything for him? Does he have any one last send here with just over 5 laps to go? Osterman, Mr. Excitement, but right now it seems like Matthew White is pulling away just ever so slightly, and now Mr. Excitement has to deal with the likes of Greg Evans. 8 wins on the season for Greg Evans, already first in the championship, most wins in the Grand National Series, and right now they're going to go 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Kendall Paul, massive run off of turn 2. Justin Osterman understeered pretty badly coming at the exit of turn number 2, and that gives Kendall Paul the opportunity to look up the inside. Osterman and Kendall Paul touching going through turn 3.
They touch indeed. Kendall trying to make the inside work. Osterman just able to keep the momentum though and just pull himself forward. And now Matthew White has broken away from the rest of the field. But this second place battle between 5 cars is getting very, very dicey at the moment. And that's also introduced not quite introduced, but David Dunway, he is also faster than the second place battle here at the moment, so he might be introduced in this battle very soon. Greg Evans looks up the inside of Kendall Paul going to turn number 2.
Greg Evans makes the move. He'll clear Kendall Paul into that 3rd spot. Ted Craven has a black flag. Just so you're aware, I know he's 6 laps down, but he's received a black flag. It's 5 laps to go for Matthew White. He's still being pursued by Justin Osterman. Ryan O'Donoghue's going to get through Kendall Paul, maybe going through turn 4. They do it. Can Greg Evans get past Justin Osterman and then mount the charge on leader Matthew White? 4 laps to go this time. We're down to a qualification run for the Indianapolis 500. 10 miles to decide the Brickyard 250 here in the AMA.
You see Greg Evans, he's able to get the momentum going down a straightaway, but he has to get around. It's one thing to catch a driver, it's another thing to get by him. Greg Evans gets a little bit wide in turn number 2. Osterman able to get to the bottom of the track there. Still a little bit too far back. A qualification run just about half a lap into that distance there. Less than 10 miles to go, probably about 8 at this point, but Greg Evans seems to be dropping back to Mr. Excitement here.
Yeah, Justin Osterman fell off the pace of Matthew White. He might have cooled the tires down a little bit. Give it one last shot. He's pulled it back to within 4 car lengths of Matthew White. 35 hundredths of a second is the difference. Justin Osterman was faster the last time through. This time they tipped the stopwatches, and Osterman 0.3 of a second over Matthew White. He is coming.
He is indeed, but he's also reintroduced Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donoghue, and Kendall Paul back in that second place battle. Greg Evans has closed that gap once again. Does Greg Evans have anything for Mr. Excitement in the closing stages of this race? They go down the back straightaway. He's a little bit too far back at the moment, but does he have any last sense here? Not quite. He thinks better of it going into turn number 3. And Matthew White has started to blink. Matthew White has started to blink here.
That is bad news for Matthew White. It's to the point you're asking why we don't show the leader. If he's blinking, we do not put the camera on him because it will cause the broadcast to glitch out. And so that's the reason we're focused in on Justin Osterman at this point. Osterman Evans, O'Donoghue, second, third, fourth. Kendall Paul is fifth. Matthew White is your leader. 2 laps to go, 5 miles, and they've got a lap car. That is David Farnan now in between Matthew White and Justin Osterman.
Yeah, they also had John Houchins, but they both kind of at the same time said, this is going to get dicey, and both backed off. And David Farnham tried to get out of the way, I believe. Osterman looking up the inside, but so does Greg Evans. He looks around the outside.
He's going to pull to the outside.
Round the outside, but thinks better of it. But Osterman goes in deep. Greg Evans performs the cutback of Justin Osterman. That's also going to allow Ryan O'Donoghue to get alongside Greg Evans or Justin Osterman.
Justin Osterman charged into turn number 3 with both sabers drawn. He overdrove the corner. Greg Evans is going to get through, but he's got a second to make up and only 1 lap to do it. Barney's going to throw the white flag in the air. 2.5 miles to decide the Brickyard 250. We're going to keep it on the battle for third, because unless Matthew White has a major problem or disconnects, he's going to win this race. Greg Evans firmly ensconced in second. The battle is for third. It's between Justin Osterman, Ryan O'Donoghue, Kendall Paul, and Trevor Ryan are both present. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth all right together as they come off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway. I don't think Ryan O'Donoghue is close enough. And now we'll put the camera on Matthew White as he heads into turn number 3. If it blinks out now, he should be okay to get
Osterman goes wide. Ryan O'Donoghue able to get around him. So does Kendall Paul. Osterman into the wall.
There you go. Back to the front of the field. Matthew White is going to come down the front straightaway, flash underneath.
Osterman's out of fuel.
So Justin Osterman does not make it. Matthew White will win the race. Greg Evans is second, and then it's 2 DVD cars on the podium with Ryan O'Donoghue in third. What a race that was. And I don't know that Matthew White has much fuel left in the tank either, Caleb.
Yeah, I believe David Dunwoody also ran out of fuel coming across the line there, because he dropped back to 9th at the finish there.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did indeed, and that's that is a finish for certain sure. Matthew White, your winner. He gets the Rogue Energy winning moment. You can go to rogueenergy.com, use promo code AMA24, get 10% off of your order. That's rogueenergy.com, promo code AMA24, 10% off Matthew White's Rogue Energy winning moment. And does he have enough fuel to do a burnout? That's the next question.
I'd be surprised if he did. I'd be very surprised if he did.
Here he comes. There's cars stopped all along the front straight. They are out of gas. There he goes. So Matthew White's gonna spin out going across the start finish line. I don't think he's got a whole lot left, but there it goes. That's all it had, Caleb. No, there it goes. He's gonna do some more. It was he can't have a lot in the tank. That's for certain sure. With the win, it's Matthew White, Greg Evans, and Ryan O'Donoghue second and third. Teammates round out the podium. Kendall Paul and Trevor Ryan make up the balance of the top 5, and then Joshua Zorn, Justin Osterman, Mike Rigney, David Dunwoody, and Sam Grove fill out the top 10 in 11th. Say hey Lewis Hayes, Rick Fallis is 12th, Christopher Logan 13th, Troy Carricker 14th, Crash Neon 15th. David Farnan brings it home, the first car 1 lap down in 16th. James Hodgson, early contact doomed his day. He finishes 17th. Daryl Zucchelli is 18th in the plain white wrapper. Andrew Gates 19th. Those cars all 1 lap down. John Houchins 20th, 3 laps down. 21st, Ted Craven. He soldiers home 10 laps off the pace. Sean Roberts is classified out. So too, Brian Sharp, Eric Porter, and Matt Metler. Whew. All right, Caleb. see if we can't get a driver or two in here. Ryan O'Donohue is waiting on us, so we'll bring in the third place man without further ado. Ryan, you've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Hello.
You decided to mess up qualifying, so you got to start in the back. How much fun was it after that?
It was interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if fun is the right word. I mean, I had fun. It was interesting that there was no natural cautions. Greg and I were talking as we were pulling off the grid, like what we're thinking for that last stage already, and how many laps we were gonna need to save or what have you. So it was kind of a long-term thing, just trying to stay out of trouble coming from the back, and we were able to do that. Every time I kind of had some momentum going forward, and just kind of ended up in the wake of another car. Kind of started getting tight there on those runs, but weird race, a little fuel saving just like last week. But yeah, good on 29. It must have been clutching or something because he never topped off. But that was Greg's call to come and top it off, and it put us right back in the top 10. So we didn't have too much work to do, and just we knew we had a lap on everybody, so we kind of just play our own game and not have to worry about too much else, except for the masterful fuel saving up front. That was a good job.
It was a great job of strategy called. Great drive through the field. Caleb, what do you have for Mr. O'Donohue this evening?
Well, you drove back through the field, and it just seemed like you had a handle over this track more so than everybody else out there. Just tell us what the most important thing when you're driving this track, what you need to do to get around this place as efficiently as possible.
It's definitely not my best track. I was surprised. I worked on some stuff in practice. Really, I think what it was backing up corners and not using a lot of brake. It was only like 10-15% brake pressure, and running down a brake bias as the run goes on. And that was kind of the key, is where I was finding runs on guys into those different ends of the track. I was weird with I really paid attention to the wind for this one too, because I know this track kind of does some funky things with it, and it changed a couple times throughout the race. And yeah, I think that was it. Just trying to keep the tires on it, and then trying to keep the fuel in it.
Well, you kept tires on it. You kept fuel in it. You stormed from what I believe was an 18th place start up to the bottom step of the podium, and with the podium comes the rewards. Friends, family, sponsors. Shout them out, my man.
Yep, girlfriends always for watching and putting up with all this nonsense. We did a whole 24-hour race last week, and that was a good time with all the teammates. DV Motorsports, all my guys. John Van Varellis, we do it all for him this year, and I think Charles got his internet back up and running, so hope you enjoyed watching this one. It was fun to be in there, so I'm hoping it was a good time watching and getting us Greg and I on the podium. Everybody on the car, Mass Surgical Supply, High Torque, New York, Heatwave Visual, 80K Karting, Sim Magic, Simshop, AMA, Kendall, all of admins. Got some cool stuff going on with this league, and I appreciate everything all the admins and all the sponsors do. Archway Industrial Coatings, Outland Custom Arms, Black Magic Studios, Track Racer, Rogue Energy, Admin Box, and yeah, we'll have fun watching this back on P1 Broadcasting. And as always, you guys do a great job in the booth, and everybody watching, hope you enjoyed it.
We definitely enjoyed calling this one. It was a fun one. Thank you so much for stopping by. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Yes, sir. See you guys.
It is Ryan O'Donohue for the second place car. We're going to bring in Greg Evans. Greg, you've got Murph. You've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
What was it going to take? What was it going to take to get? What was it going to take to get to the 29? You think it was an awfully quick machine out there in front of you.
Yeah, I mean he was real fast tonight. I tried the first stage to run like I usually do, a little bit harder, but then I tried something a little bit different in the second stage, and I was able to kind of maintain once he got about 3 seconds ahead, but just couldn't really gain in on him. So I knew after that you really had to be out front. But with the way the third segment was going to play out, I knew we had to save some gas, so I didn't really get a chance to try, really pushing the car and trying to get out in front of him. So I mean, he just ran a really good race tonight. He was better, and just couldn't really do anything. We had plenty of fuel. We had about a lap left there, so I felt like maybe I should have pushed with about 3 laps to go. Maybe see if I could run him out, but unfortunately, just hindsight's always 20/20.
It is that. Caleb, what do you have for the man who is currently atop the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series points?
Well, let's talk about, you brought up the fuel save with about a lap left, and everybody decided to come talk about. Just talk us through that third stage and just trying to maintain a good pace while trying to fuel save at the same time. It's not quite like last time around Atlanta where you were significantly off the pace, but going only 150 there. This time you actually had to keep up quite a bit of momentum and just to, fuel, but you had to fuel save at the same time. Just talk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult tonight because, some guys, they kind of got in front of you, and I knew I didn't really want to be out of the top 3, top 4 there. So it was kind of jockeying for position. You could, kind of save whenever you got a chance. Whenever, Osterman kept racing 29 pretty hard there, that's whenever I got to save the most fuel, honestly. I could really just let off the gas, getting in the corner and float it in there and pull back up to them and let those guys battle. But it was tough. The numbers, I always seem like whenever I do fuel save, I save a little bit too much because you're watching your fuel and everything, and you're not really sure, how much you're going to have left, and the strategy there. But it was just a lot of jock. Kendall got by us one time, and then I was like, I really don't want to be there. I wanted to be in front of him, and I wanted to be in front of Osterman, but I didn't want to run that hard. So it's kind of, I think you have to have a mindset of what kind of pace you want to run, and then just try to do your best to stay there, and not, not alter that too much. But yeah, it was overall a good night. So we still finished second, so it's not too bad.
Second place isn't too bad either. Isn't too bad is right. You patch points lead tonight, Greg. You wind up coming out of here with a clean race car. Congratulations on another fine run. Friends, family, sponsors. Shout them out, my man. You've earned it.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sim Magic, Simshop, Sim Labs, Freightliner, all my guys from DVD Motorsports. Sorry we couldn't get another win tonight for JV 78, but hopefully Charles is just as proud of a second place, and we'll keep battling. I think we got a week off, and then we'll come back and see if we can get one at Iowa. Not Iowa. Yeah, it is Iowa.
It is. You're exactly right. So thank you so much for stopping by, Greg. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Sounds good, guys. I might see you guys tomorrow night. I haven't ran it by the wife yet, but we'll see what happens. But I love IRP and would love to run it, but just kind of see how it played by ear.
I was gonna say, you gotta make sure you get the permission slip signed, right?
Yeah, honestly, IRP is probably one of my favorite racetracks to run. But after running last Friday, then tonight, it's going to be a tall order, boys. We'll see what happens. Say a prayer for me.
It's all right. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
See you guys.
That's Greg Evans. He is the second place runner tonight. Matthew White is not in the Discord, and so give him his due. He wins both stages. He wins the race tonight. Fantastic duel with Justin Osterman, but Matthew White deserves his kudos because that 29 car was bad fast. He led the most laps, and Matthew White comes away with the win tonight. And Caleb, we couldn't have asked really for a more fantastic race than the one we just saw.
No, that was absolutely an incredible finish between the top 6 there. At the very end, just guys just trying to fuel save, guys just, some of them going a little bit harder than others. And then, the incredible battle between Matthew White, Osterman, Craig Evans, Candale, even throwing his hat into the mixture, Ryan O'Donohue as well. And just to see how that all unfolded at the end there was really good to see. And not only that, we got really good, a really good long green flag run at the end there. No cautions. Well, unless you want to count the stage cautions, of course, but no natural cautions for the second year in a row here at Indianapolis is always good to see. And it really introduced a really good battle of just because of the strategies with how everybody was fuel saving there. But like you said, Matthew White, we gotta give his due diligence. He's not in the interview room at the moment. This is only his third AMA start, so he is still a fresh face in the league. And right now, he's already set the tone for everybody else of what he can do here.
He has. And if you want to see more Matthew White, more AMA, more awesome iRacing action, keep it right here on P1. It is tomorrow night. It is the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series live from Indianapolis Raceway Park. That's 8:23 race, 8:35 start. We're off Saturday, and there is a big one Sunday. I believe $1,000 is on the line, $400 to win. It is the Season 5 opener of the Votive Indy Oval Series, a crown jewel event. It is the Votive Indy Derby, 8 o'clock. Don't miss that one. Monday night, the IndyCar Open Series Top Split returns. That's at 8 o'clock, and they're going to be followed by the Indy Next Road Series Top Split at 10. Tuesday, it's a triple header. The IndyCar Oval Series goes at 8:15. They're going to be followed by the Indy Next Oval Series at 9:30. And it's Area 51 coming back after dark. They're going to be at Chicagoland. That will roll at 9:30 as well. Wednesday, it's a doubleheader with the season opener of the Horizon IndyCar Series at 8 o'clock. The Formula Indy Series goes at 8:20. And then, well, Caleb, I think we've got a week off. The AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series has the week off next week, so we will not be here next Thursday night. And that's great because my vocal cords are going to need a rest after doing 3 races in 3 days. It's always good to have a weekend off. Do want to thank everybody who tuned it in. The audience tonight, as always, is wonderful. Do want to thank the drivers on the track. They put on a heck of a show, but we want to really thank the people that really made it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Caleb, the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. Flip it on over to the sister stream. You can catch the end of 500 miles of IndyCar action at Pocono. Have a great night, everybody.